What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations 2020, Best Podcast News Award winner, 2018 Innovation Award winner, given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I also co-host and co-produce the only online show in the world for dads and fathers that is sponsored by Dove and Plus Care. And also, I am a contributor to the Fly Nubian Queen YouTube network, which has over 550,000 subscribers. And also, coming very, very soon, a contributor to the Indie Soup Media OTT, or Over the Top Media Network, which has over a reach of over 1 million people. So as always, I like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. So before we go any further this morning, let's check out some things. Always, please subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube. Also hit the notification button so you get notified when these epic conversations happen. Also, follow the Dr. Vibe Show on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Also, if you want to advertise your business, product, or service on the Morning Vibe or any of the platforms that I host, please feel free to reach out to me at dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. And finally, join the Discord group. I've been putting up, for people who join the Discord group, you get a lot of extra content. I still have to put in Wayne Harris's top tips for Canadians when it comes to finances in 2024. And I'm also putting the links to the replays of these conversations. So if you're a member of the group, all you have to do is, if you miss an episode, all you have to do is go in there and it's posted there for you. So let's talk about something else coming up on this Monday show. We have makeup artist extraordinaire Faces by Pureness going to be joining us, finally getting her on the platform. Not only talk about her makeup career doing makeup, but also a phenomenal weight loss story. I hope she gets into that. So that's coming up on this Monday's show. Now, this is really crazy today. Ryan is not here. He hasn't messaged me, told me he can't make it. Let me just check right now. I'm going to just double check. I have no messages from Ryan, and we're supposed to be having Ray McMillan, and Ray is not in the house. So we've got like a freestyle Friday till we got anything else going on or anyone else shows up. So a few things. Where are people chiming in from? Tell me how you're doing. Also, are there any stories in the news that you want to chat about, or any topics you'd like to just bring to the table? So I'm just going to do that. And also, if you're in North America, are you experiencing this deep freeze that we're going through? Like Toronto over the past week, cold weather. Like I looked on my phone this morning, the high temperature for the day is happening right now, which is -9 degrees Celsius. So that's the high for the day. Now, eventually it's going to get a little bit warmer into next week, but we've had a deep freeze for the last week. So are you experiencing, how you enduring, overcoming the cold? I was just listening to a story on the news about, if you're driving an electric car battery, the batteries for electric cars aren't doing it. Okay, please send me the link to get on. I thought I sent it to you, Ray. Okay, let me do that right now. So I'm going to multi-purpose. And while we're doing that, let's do this. Okay, let me just get Ray the links. And my apologies, Ray, if I did not send you the link. No worries. You're going to have this in just a moment, Ray. I'm going to multi-purpose like I love to do there. Okay, so Ray, I just sent you the link. So momentarily, we're going to have Ray McMillan in the house. Okay, we've got it. So Ray should be on in just a moment. I know a lot of people love chiming in when Ray McMillan is on, and we are going to have him talking today about real estate investing risks and how to avoid them. And again, I was listening to some news. I don't listen to it too much, but listening to some content online today about the whole housing market, especially in the US, how they're forecasting by third quarter that the interest rate should be going down. I'm hearing the same sort of thing allegedly here, but it's really crazy because in the US, more and more jobs are being created. And when that happens, inflation doesn't go down or interest rates really don't go down. And it's crazy enough for interest rates to go down, the economy has to slow down. But so the prognosticators are saying, or the economists are saying, when more people are coming in the market, that means more consumption, heat up the economy. So it won't happen. So we'll see if there's any drop in interest rates. Just out of curiosity, how many people who are watching, especially live, are either involved in real estate investing or would like to get involved in real estate investing? Just be curious who'd like to get involved with real estate investing. So just want to check that out, or any other stories you'd like to chat about before Ray comes on. He should be on momentarily because I have sent him his email, the link for him to come in. Also, too, coming up this weekend, just want to promo, fill up the dead air time. We have Saturday evening Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern time, 4 p.m. Pacific, prime time with Aisha and Lala, where they give their takes and POVs on things that are going on in the U.S., political, non-political, and maybe sometimes some global stuff. And Sunday afternoons, we have Black Canada Talking, where I sit down. Recently, it's been with Cesar Nadima Musa, and he gives a Black Canadian view or lens on stories going on inside of Canada and outside of Canada. So if you haven't subscribed, especially to the YouTube channel, I suggest that you do, so you get this. Okay. Frequency Event Promotions, good morning. Real estate investing is a great topic of interest. Good day to you, Dr. Odd. Good day to you also, Frequency Event Promotions. And we have Ray McMillan. Okay, so he's eventually, sees in the green room. He's got a few more things going on, and we'll make it happen. And okay, good morning, Fitnance IQ Cam, others known as KSFEYL. RWFQ, good to have you in the house. Hope things are going well with you and your ascent to power that you're on. So this is good to hear. Good to hear. So real estate. So real estate investing is always a good thing to get involved in. Always a good land. A person that I respect said that you get from low class to middle class by owning a home or owning land. And then the next, if you want to get into the top level class, owning stocks. So part of the, I guess, wealth journey. Fitness, no mafia assembled. We good. Are you assembling a mafia, Fitness IQ Cam? This is dangerous. You're a very powerful person. You already have a mafia going on. Okay. Trisha Wallace, good morning. How are you this morning, Trisha? Where are you chiming in from? I've not seen you comment before, or if I have, I've forgotten. And where are you chiming in? But happy to have you. Okay. And what are people up to this weekend? Would love to know what's going on this weekend in your worlds. So let me just type a message here for Ray. Okay. Mute. Okay, so I've just given Ray a message here. Okay, got some things here. All right, Mississauga. All right, Saga. Good stuff. Trisha Wallace, Happy New Year 2024. Good to see you in this platform. Good day. So it seems that Frequency Event Promotions know who you is, but who doesn't he know? He knows everybody. He knows everybody. So I'm just waiting for Ray to come into the room officially. And also, next month is Black History Month. What are you up to for Black History Month, if anything? And the whole area of Black History Month. I like to celebrate Black history every day. Actually have some sharing engagements coming up. For the first time in a long time, I've been asked to do some sharing for Black History Month, so I'm looking forward to it. As those dates, actually, those events come closer, we'll certainly FYI you on that. But I have 2 engagements I've been asked to do, and more people are piling into the room. So do chime in from wherever you're from. Okay. Ray is here. All right. And he just has to unmute himself, and I'll bring him up officially. So once he unmutes himself, I'll bring him to the platform. But he looks, there we go. He then turned off his camera. Okay. So Ray, okay, he's back on. All right. Ray, give me a thumbs up telling me you're ready, and then I will bring you on screen live. So okay, I'm just going to bring him on. If he gets mad at me, I will take the abuse. Ray McMillan, how are you? Can you hear us, Ray?
Good morning, sir. I'm doing very well. Thank you. How are you doing?
Good to have you. How are you? Good. Okay. All right. Good.
I'm doing well. No complaints on my end.
Good stuff. I
was your
would
feed
always
this morning. The last time you had some challenges.
Okay, so it looks like it's a little delayed. I'd like our audience to say, how is his Ray's feed, internet feed? Is it okay? All right. Also want to say good morning, Opal Inspired. Hope you're doing fine. Everyone follow Opal Inspired with her artistic creations on her growing YouTube channel. All right, Ray. How has the year been for you so far?
Audio better with the camera off? I know we've had some challenges the last few times that we've been on.
Yeah, the audio's better. Can you hear me okay?
Oh, yeah, I'm hearing you clearly.
Okay, let's go this route because it seems there's less a delay in regards to this. So how has 2024 been treating you?
Very good. No complaints at all. I mean, I look forward to, the New Year's. You can start planning for what you plan to accomplish in the new year. So for me, it's always something to look forward to. You've had some experiences, you've had some challenges, you've had some successes, you've met a few new people, you've lost a few people. But for me, it's just, I'm not one for resolutions. I don't make New Year's resolutions. I have a game plan that I work every year. We have a plan to do certain things, and that's what I focus on. But I'm not one for, I'm going to the gym on the 1st of January, or I start saving money, or I start investing in the stock market. I think that's stuff you should do all the time.
Exactly. I'd also want to give you congratulations.
And you should use your new year to see what you accomplished in your plan the previous year, in the current year. That's just my perspective.
Great. Also want to give Ray kudos, also his son Stefan, and I can't remember the other gentleman's name. They hosted a great information session about real estate in the last week or so. So Ray, job well done by all 3 of you.
Yeah, that's Andrew Short. I've known Andrew for about probably 12 years. Great guy. It's interesting when he and Steph decided to collaborate, and Steph was telling me about this person he was speaking to. I had no idea who the person was. So we had a Zoom call where Steph was going to introduce me to the individual. And when Andrew came on, I'm like, man, it's you, Andrew? I was totally oblivious to who it was. But Andrew's a great guy. DF Insurance. He's been doing it now for about 15 years. Very professional, very knowledgeable. Just a great all-around person. We did a few information sessions about probably 10 years ago. Myself, another good colleague of mine, Barrington Lewis, a realtor, and Jelani Daniel. We had a 4-person panel where we did a season 4 session. Went really, really well. But then everybody went on and did, a few things their own at that point in time, right there. That's where I first met Andrew.
Jelani Daniel. I've not heard that name in a long time. Okay. So we're gonna work through the digital challenges today. So Ray, you're wanting to talk today about real estate investment risks and how to avoid them. So where do you want to start on this topic?
That is correct. We've had a very turbulent last few years, starting with the global pandemic, and then the interest rate changes in 2023. There's got a lot of people sort of out of schools. So, as real estate investors, there are certain risks you have to be cognizant of. And there are mainly 6 risks that any investor should take into consideration as they start. The second is leverage. You've got location risk, owner risk, asset risk, and then you've got what they call financial risk. Market risk is what we experienced last year, where went through its own series of permutations, and the central bank started to raise interest rates on both sides of the border. So many folks who found themselves not prepared for those changes, those interest rate changes, found themselves in quite a quandary where they were completely stressed out. Because if you a property investor, mean you own a 1 unit or whatever refer to as one door, as a single family, you would have been most impacted by that market risk, which is the interest rate risk. The other risks that are part of market risk are population decline, population growth, migration, out-migration, and that sort of stuff. So as a real estate investor, if you plan to scale up and own several properties or several units, and I use the word units instead of properties because one property can have more than 1 unit, 100 units. So if your intention is to be serious with what you do and own multiple units, then you really want to understand what market risk can impact you and how it will either help you to grow your growth. So understanding that is very, very important. The research is important. And sometimes just going with your gut can also help you to allay some of the risks that you're facing. So the market risk we're focus on here mostly today is the interest rate risk, where we've seen rates go from probably sub 2% to somewhere between 5% plus. And many will ask, well, how would I have known to make changes to my mortgage to not be impacted by that sudden spike in interest rates? What is access to historical data? I can go back and let you know that rates go through cycles. So you want to have a 20, 30 years, which is the lifetime of most mortgages. So if you look back at the past 20, 30 years, there's a very high probability that sometime between your purchase date and your mortgage payoff, which is probably 25 to 30 years, those same occurrences will possibly happen again. So you have to insulate yourself to that process. So when the rates start to rise, you should not be shocked. Step one is when you do your mortgage qualification, do not qualify yourself at the lowest possible rate, because any change will impact you negatively, right? So you've got posted rate and contract rate. And many rookie investors base their analysis on the contract rate, which can sometimes be 2% lower than the posted mortgage rate. So you always want to do your analysis at the posted rate. And also for the claim of 25-year amortization, even if you get a 30 or 35-year amortization, because that can change in the future if you change lenders. Right? I hope the audio is coming through clear.
Okay, I'm just going to jump in. So wanted to, with our live audience right now, can you hear Ray okay? Can you put that in your chat in the comments section? Can you hear him okay? Is his volume okay? He's turned off his video so we can get the best. So Fitness IQ Cam says yes. Okay. Verna says yes, great, fantastic. So at least people are saying they can hear you okay. Also, a few other things. Want to shout out Dr. Tachi is in the house from nice, warm Florida. Dr. Tachi is a host and producer of Mediascope, also the driving force behind Indie Soup Media. Mediascope has been going on for a while now. That was 7-8 years now. And it's the livest online show about media, tech, and pop culture. It's taking a hiatus right now till about the middle of next month. But when it's back, as always, you catch it at 5 o'clock Eastern time on Instagram Live, and then 6 p.m. on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram probably, and LinkedIn, and Twitch, and other platforms. So good to hear from you, Dr. Tachi, as always. And we got some comments. So other people, so yeah, I'm hearing yes. Okay, Verna, Trisha, Eunice, good. Opal Inspire, yeah, you can hear Ray okay, fantastic. I've also, actually, no, we're going to take a quick little break. So we're going to take a quick break and we'll be back, and then Ray will continue on. Again, thanks everyone for chiming in. It is the morning vibe with Dr. Vibe here. Sounds, as we say en français, with not Ryan in the house yet. Hopefully he is, but not. We will continue on. We're going to take a 90-second break, and we'll be right back with Ray going more about real estate investment and risks.
You know, and that's what I feel like. You feel like you're the Harriet Tubman of the mind.
I am.
I feel like I'm I'm one of the Harriet Tubmans of intelligent Black people. Like, I want to liberate y'all from like being left behind and ignored and oblivion. No, really, the rappers get all the attention. You know, seriously, does anybody else feel this way? Like ignorant Black people, they'll be all up, you know, getting all the headlines on the Shade Room.
Overly sexualized Black folks.
Like the twerkers and the, you know, just people that, you know, don't always represent the best of us, you know, the diversity, you know, like people like Dr. Vibe. Like, everybody should know about people like Dr. Vibe. Dr.
Really
Vibe he's trying to do good work for Black people.
Dr. Vibe from Toronto. Good to see you, my brother. Dr. Vibe. Everybody follow Dr. Vibe. He has a great show. He's very good at what he does, and I have a lot of respect for him.
Okay, so let me hop into this. What's up, Dr. Vibe? How you doing? Everybody, if you see Dr. Vibe in the chat, everybody go follow the Dr. Vibe show. Dr. Vibe is a real smart brother and a good human being. I like the guy a lot, and he's very intelligent. And I think everyone should pay attention to what he's got going on. We got to shine the spotlight on the intelligent Black people out here that are really doing the good work. Don't just pay attention to the rappers and the celebrities. You know, a lot of these people are losers. Your true winners are your people in your community that are really having your back. You know, helping us to have stronger families and a stronger community. So Dr. Vibe is in that category. So you might see the Dr. Vibe show in this chat. If you see him, please go follow him. Okay. All right. So anyway.
All right. We are back on the Morning Vibe. Shout out to Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. And again, you can catch myself and Aisha K. Staggers and Laura Lala Key tomorrow night, live 7 p.m. Eastern time. Not tomorrow, we'll say tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern time, 4 p.m. Pacific on Fly Nubian Queen, which is one of the channels that he is on, or he manages with. And that, again, that YouTube's channel has over 550,000 subscribers. So we are back in the house with Ray McMillan today, talking about real estate investment risks and how to avoid them. Also, before we get back, Eunice Graham says, good morning, everyone. So Ray, I have a question for you in regards to the subject. How can one access the information that you're sharing with us today? Like you're saying, going back records wise, is this something that can be done online easily?
Yes, that is true. It's what's called an index chart, which gives you historical data on interest rates going back, I think, to the end of the Second World War. And it tracks interest rates, bond yields, treasury returns, sometimes, or not sometimes, also tracks the S&P and the stock markets. So you can see where the rate curve, the interest rate lines intersect. Usually in a low interest rate environment, stock market yields are higher, and the inverse. So you can track that stuff going back to probably around 1945. I recall back in the late 90s when I worked for a major bank, and there was a huge influx of wealthy Chinese family from Hong Kong, as there was rumor that Hong Kong was going back to mainland China because there's a lease agreement between I think the British and mainland China with Hong Kong. A lot of Chinese were coming to the city. Most of them were very, very affluent. And one of my clients, a lot of my clients when I worked at the bank I worked for, were mentors of mine. I watched them. They were very wealthy individuals, and they were unknowing mentors to myself as I watched the way they navigated financial markets. And at that time, rates were probably around 7%. And he only had 6-month convertible mortgages. So the product you choose can help you to basically, quote unquote, play the rate game. There are also other products out there, a combination of different mortgage products. So you can have a 5-year mortgage, or you have a mortgage, that has different terms in it, up to 3 or 4 different products in that mortgage. So let's say you have a $500,000 mortgage. Let's say $200,000 of that mortgage at a 2-year term at another $150,000 over 5 years. You can have $50,000 over 10 years. You can have part as a home equity. You can have part as a variable rate or adjustable rate mortgage. And each of them have different maturity dates. So as you build your investment portfolio, you want to choose mortgage types or a combination of mortgage products that have staggered maturity dates. So you aren't always panicking or pulling your hair out at the slightest market change, because it's cyclical, and crystal ball to determine when changes will occur. The central bank made sudden changes last year, and it caught everybody off guard. So that's just one aspect of market risk. And then there is are capable of allowing you to build your portfolio, whether it's across the entire country or in a specific localized market. You don't want to buy property in a neighborhood that is being depressed and has continued to be depressed unless there is, as the market can be depressed today, if there is major employers are coming in, or there's a major influx of investor money. I talked about now the commercial industrial space. That's tick. And we've seen it in many parts of many cities, many large cities across North America, where you've got a depressed neighborhood, because sometimes a major employer left one industry cities. There's no major banking, finance, and government around it. It's usually either car manufacturer, some sort of manufacturing. So many of them sort of took a nosedive during the 90s, their operations into Mexico. In recent times, we've seen a lot of stuff coming from China. There's not a lot of stuff being manufactured in North America anymore. When you see North American manufactured products, you're usually quite surprised. I mean, some of the best men's footwear in North America. Like you go into a shoe store today, you know, I'm not going to call any name, but everything you see in there is made in China, right? So our industries have really suffered. So you want to really understand history in your city. If you're in a port city and they're expanding the ports and they're bringing in new logistics companies, there's jobs. People are coming into your city, and those jobs are usually better paying jobs. If they're opening up new hospitals, I think I spoke this in one of our last conversations. So those are the kind of marketings you want to look for as you build and expand your investment real estate portfolio.
So you've been doing this for many years. For the average individual, are the barriers to getting involved in real estate investment easier than it was even 10 or 15 years ago? Investment easier than it was even 10 or 15 years ago?
Hold on one second. The challenges, I don't think it's easier or harder. It's different. You've got the landscape is constantly evolving. You've got migration, which impacts it. I mean, for example, in the large plain cities, we have a significant new immigrant coming into this country, which is and most of them are wealthy, and a lot of them have become real estate investors as well as speculators. So it removes it makes the playing field a little uneven for folks who are local with not as deep pockets. And that's why you have to really analyze other locations and understand markets and continue to build your portfolio and understand what mortgage products are available, what you want to do. I mean, I speak constantly of buying apartment buildings, small apartments, 16, 20, 30, 40 units. And the reason I do that is because the financing process can be a lot easier than trying to buy two, and the return is significant, right? So it's a matter of changing or pivoting as the markets evolve. Markets are going to constantly landscape evolve, regardless of the industry you're in. So I tend to shy from better, worse, easier, harder type conversations. I prefer to use the word different or evolving as opposed to better and worse.
Okay. Gotcha. Thanks for the answer, Ray. And if you're watching live, I've put it out there. If you have any questions about real estate investment, especially live right now, please put them in the chat of the platform that you're watching and, hit the enter and I'll be able to get Ray to answer them in real time. We have Serena Wills, belated happy birthday. I know I messaged you about happy birthday, but Serena Wills recently celebrated a birthday. So good morning from the DMV area, Serena. And how is the weather in the DMV area? Is it as cold as it is in many other areas of Canada and the United States? Fantastic. Ray, you do a lot of work in the real estate investment fold. Are you seeing the demographics change of people who are coming to get involved in real estate investment who are working with you over the years?
Sorry, the audio is a bit choppy there, Dr. Vibe. Can you repeat the question for me, please?
Yeah, I'm just asking, with over the years, have you seen the demographics of real estate investors change? Because you mentioned in your last comment, there's a lot of immigrants coming in with money. Are you seeing more immigrants getting involved in the real estate investment? Are you seeing younger people, older people, etc.?
The real estate investor profile is very diverse. In my experience, I think I mentioned in one of my conversations, a lot of my clients are female, over the age of 40, single. And many see real estate investing as a way to secure their retirement. Most of the ownings, some will venture into the small multifamily, 3 to 4 units. And then some may buy the secondary home. Most of them are buying either small condos because the management process is very easy. There's no real maintenance. And then those who are a little more brave step into the small multifamily arena. And that usually is a bit of stress for them because they're managing a different type of real estate, which you have to have a lot of hands-on, management, dealing with multiple tenants in the same property, dealing with maintenance issues. Usually they're older homes, and there's a lot of money to put into it to get it up to where you want it to be. And then there's younger people. Many of those are children of immigrants who never really achieved the North American dream. They didn't really, acquire a whole lot. Just the house they lived in, probably a very small RSP. And if they worked in healthcare or worked in education, they had a pension. And then when they passed away, you've got 4 siblings, house got divided among 4 people. Usually there was chaos because there was no will in estate planning. So a lot of the younger people now, probably a little older than 35, that's a very significant demographic. And also there's a lot of information out there today. There's a lot of podcasts. People are constantly talking about generational wealth. So that young population is very, very motivated. Then I find that demographic, who's my demographic, between the age of 45 and probably 65, who migrated from the Caribbean, our interest is a little different. We tend to want to invest back where we came from. So for my clients who came from parts of Africa and parts of the Caribbean, because we are still very African or very Caribbean in the way we live, our interest is to take our asset here, sort of liquidate some of it or leverage it, and move the asset into investing back in whether it's Ghana, Nigeria, the Congo, Somalia, Ethiopia, Jamaica, Guyana, Barbados. And I see a lot of that with my clients who are probably closer to retirement, considering retirement, and a couple of things. One, the cold is not part of their agenda. They're not interested in being in a very cold environment. And 2, it's expensive to retire here. If you didn't have the maximum pension contract, you were probably a contract employee most of your life, or you were self-employed, and you're now close to 60, and realize, okay, all I've got is this house, and I can't afford to maintain a decent lifestyle retiring. But if I cash out in this house, I walk with what house prices are in the GTA. I mean, 1.2, 1.3 million. I go back to the Caribbean, I either build or buy, and I spend $350 US. I've got a real nice place now that I can use either as part as a short-term rental, part as a vacation rental, and just have a very, very comfortable lifestyle. So that's what we see now. One of the other challenges you have is leveraging. Most people don't have the actual cash to go and buy multiple properties. You have to borrow it. And the risk you can run is to over leverage yourself, where you're taking money out of your own to buy investment real estate. And it's very, very important that you put those numbers down. And I think a mistake a lot of people make is that they only focus on the property they're buying and what that's going to cost them. But they forget that they took out this $200,000 from their home in a HELOC or a second mortgage. And the numbers are usually very, very confused. When clients come and sit with us, they always forget one of the liabilities. And you run into a situation where you've got, this liability against, you either borrowed against your investment portfolio or against your home, or you borrowed from your business. And then you've got these properties you're buying. And you have the numbers in the property makes sense, but you've forgotten that you've leveraged yourself, right? And you can make a mistake with probably one property. If you get into 2 or 3 or 4 properties, and you made a mistake 2 or 3 or 4 times, you will find yourself crying out in pain, as many folks are today, because they never run the numbers properly. And that's why it's important, and I keep stressing it all the time, to sit down with a mortgage professional, whether it's your bank, whether it's an independent mortgage advisor, and really work those numbers out to make sure that you're in the right path. Because I've seen it many times where people have leveraged themselves to buy real estate and had to sell everything. And they barely managed to hold on their home, which is now mortgaged to the hilt, because they didn't do the numbers properly. So again, the investment process is not a 2-minute process. It took us probably a year and a half to pick up our first investment properties down in Florida. I worked with some of my clients where the conversation went back and forth for a year or 2 years before they made each step. And if you plan to do it successfully, you've got to do it right. If not, you will find yourself in problems, a lot of problems too.
Ray, thanks again for the answers and the sharing of information. And the wonderful thing is that people are listening live, even though they can't see you. And we're having a little bit of a technical challenge at times. People are staying in and listening to the conversation. So both on behalf of Ray, myself, and Ryan, who's not here, thank you for hanging in there. And we will work on getting this issue resolved, if not today, by the time Ray is on next time. Ray, I want to talk more about the whole concept of leverage, because I don't think people understand the whole concept of leveraging. Like up until I didn't know about it most of my life. And then when I came to understand it, it changed my mindset on looking at economics. So can you go a little bit deeper and talk about leveraging, especially when it comes to real estate?
Definitely. I mean, as I said earlier, most people will take loan or borrow money from a relative in order to buy their first investment property or even their first home. So, if you've got a home worth $600,000, you've got a current mortgage of $100,000, you can access the equity up to $400,000 in that property, or 75 or 80%. This gives you access to about $300,000. Now, you can take that money out and buy any number of investment type properties. You can buy yourself a small fourplex. You can invest in a couple of pre-construction condos. You can invest in pre-construction homes. But it's important to understand that $300,000 debt, that equity into your home, comes with a payment every single month. So as you do your numbers on your rental properties, you have to be cognizant that you've got to service that debt. Now, if you're investing in pre-construction, which usually has a 4 or 5 year timeline to completion, you are servicing that $300,000 debt with the expectation that 4 or 5 years from now, the valuation of the unit you bought will be the price you bought it for, plus a few $100,000 to compensate the cost of that $300,000. Many people forget that. Many people sort of miss that part of the equation, right? And then if you decide to keep the property, what is the market rent, or what are the market rents in the event that you can't sell it and have to hold on to it? And we are in such an environment today where many speculative investors have bought properties that they now have to hold on to because the valuation is quite a bit less than what they anticipated when they bought it. And that brings us back again to market risk. So the leveraging, if you're going to leverage your properties, you have to really understand market risks to leverage effectively. And I'm not going to tell people not to leverage because we deal with clients who do it all the time. But you have to really sit down and get your numbers really accurate to do it successfully.
Thank you for that, Ray. Really appreciate that. And again, this is why Ray, I regard him as an expert when it comes to mortgages. And, as he said, he didn't, I've put up on the screen and put it in the chat. If you'd like to get in contact with him, great. If not, he always says, get in contact with someone who is an experienced professional in this area. It's so, so, so important. Okay. So here's a question for you, Ray. Opal Inspire says, Ray, what are the risks with pre-construction homes?
That's a very good question, Opal Inspired. The risk with pre-construction, there's several risks. One is delay in construction. So you buy a pre-construction, there's a home or a condo, and the builder tells you we'll close it in 15 months. And 15 months from now, there's not a pitchfork in the ground. They're still trying to get permits to do a lot of stuff. And they keep giving you these extensions. And if you buy any new construction, the one thing you want to do is take that purchase agreement and go and sit down with your real estate lawyer and understand it. Many buyers don't do that. And that is another form of risk or possibly stupidity. But in that agreement, the builder is allowed to extend that deal without compensating you. And many times you will see a letter or some sort of communication come to you as by email or registered mail telling you that we've extended our closing date. We've pushed the closing date forward. So you've got your money tied up, 20% down payment in this property that is not closing. Then you have market risk that affects your construction. The market changes. So property value starts to correct. Rates start to go up. Your loan to value, which is the amount of money you can borrow based on the appraised value of the property, is now impacted and you can't close your transaction. I am not a fan of pre-construction investment. Never was, never will be. Toronto has the most in the sky of any city in North America, probably any city globally when it comes to condominiums. Somebody's getting very, very rich, and it's not a lot of the buyers because most of the projects are delayed. Most of the projects are a nightmare. Most of the projects went people times, yet people continue to do it. If you will buy a $500,000 condo, you got to give that payment over 18 months. My opinion, my preference would be look to find yourself an investment property in a group of towns or university towns and put your money into that property instead. Close it 30 or 60 days from day one. Even if you barely break even, even if you get $10 a month positive cash flow, because now I can improve that property. Market rents are constantly increasing. I can renovate one of the units, change from 1 bedroom to 2 bedrooms, or from a 2+1 to a 2+2, and increase my rents. But I've got my $150,000 tied up with a builder for an extended period of time, and I have no idea where the future will go. And none of us have mastered the art of predicting the future. So let me live in the moment. Let me focus my investment portfolio in the moment, and I will create the future for myself. So I'm not into speculative real estate. I'm not into buying pre-construction. Now, to buy a home to live in a different conversation. And this concept of real estate investing, not buying to live in. So let's be very, very clear in that, first of all. We're speaking about real estate. If you buy a home to live in, then by all means, buy a pre-construction. You can choose your finishes. It's a brand new home. It's never been lived in before. It's a brand new subdivision. It's a different conversation. But as an investor, I don't see the value in going into pre-construction units. I think it's overly speculative. I think it's high risk. And a lot of the sad stories you're hearing today, people can't close, losing their deposits, is all the folks who have really invested heavily in the pre-construction sector.
Excellent question.
One of the next risks we run into is location risk, which is different from market. Market overall, global perspective. Location risk is specifically by a property in downtown Miami or a beachfront condominium. It meant to offer you as an investor or a potential landlord. So you want to look at stuff like transportation, schools, long-term plans by the local municipal government, and that sort of stuff. And once you understand what's happening within your that neighborhood, that localized environment, you can have a better idea of where your investment will be, what the value will be 5 or 10 years into the future. One of the things we hear a lot about today is gentrification, where some locations which are depressed today or were depressed 5 years ago. And I know our listener there in the DMV, she sees this very often, because the whole Washington area, Virginia area is one where there's extensive gentrification, right? Same for folks who are in parts of Brooklyn, where we invest in Jacksonville is the same thing. So, and it can be depressed, right? But it's probably 50 minutes walk out of the downtown core, not too far from a major university, a very affluent prep school, hospitals being expanded, or one of our big manufacturing companies drops a plant there. So very quickly, that location can change. Now, the reverse can happen. You can buy property in an area without doing the research, and then 6 months later, a major employer shuts down shop and 5,000 jobs are gone, right? So it's important to, if you are doing out of city, out of state, out of country investment, to really put a lot of attention to what's happening in that localized environment. You cannot go in blindly, because you can lose your money very, very quickly.
All right, Ray, you're on a roll. The questions are starting to come in now. So we have another question here from Denise. Denise says, Ray, I see that investors are buying land, building homes for lease only. Could a renter negotiate to rent to buy?
No, you see, that phenomenon is an amazing phenomenon. And for that's something anybody wants to get involved in that process. I myself want to get involved in, where I want to build several units, purpose-built rentals, for rentals. There are several large investors who are buying hundreds of thousands of small homes in Jacksonville, Florida. Again, some very familiar, but I spent a lot of time in Florida. There's a particular investor, I think they're actually Canadian, who has built a whole series of affordable type homes. They're 3 bedrooms, 1.5 bathrooms, and they're only built for rent. So they are not looking to sell that those units right now. They're looking to basically build them. Usually they build it hundreds at a time. They're looking to build them fully occupied, because the value of that property changes as the rent increases. So you've got how they're going to build today. It's going to rent for probably $10.50 a month. And that's not in the Canadian market. I'm talking if you're south of the border in the US. That person there, I was asked that question, I think they're somewhere in Georgia. Put the question into context of where they're located. So you're looking at 10, 15 months in rent. By year 2, your rent's going to go to probably $1,200 a month. By year 3 or 4, you're on $1,400 a month. Along with your rent being increased, your property value is increasing, your debt is being paid down. Now, that investor many times will take that entire portfolio and start cutting it up and selling parts to other investors, and that's where you make your money. When I was looking at the property in Jacksonville, there were people who were selling 10 properties as one unit. So they weren't selling them individually. You had to buy all 10 units. And coming from the GTA, I found it confusing. I couldn't understand it. I started since about 4 years ago, 5 years ago, when I started down there. And once I understood, it all made sense. So if you have the ability to access 5 or 10 acres of land, you can build inexpensively many places, but you want to build for that rental market. And that's not only a Canadian, US opportunity. That exists also in the Caribbean. It exists in Jamaica, and it exists in Guyana. In Jamaica, there's Gore Homes, who builds a very basic product, but it works. It's a 2-1-bathroom home, about 850 square feet on a 4,000 or 5,000 square foot lot, and the price is below $100,000. I mean, it's gone up a bit in the last 10 years, but when they first started building, when I first got into the business, those homes were around 55,000 US for one of them. So it allows you to get in, and you can basically buy it as an investor, and then you can rent it. In Guyana, the same opportunity also exists, where you can actually find yourself a few acres of land. As they build the infrastructure, the highways, etc., you find yourself a few acres of land, and you build a very simple product, 2-bathroom home, 800 square feet, where you are catering for a specific audience. So it's a very, very good niche to be in, and it's a great opportunity for those who want to test the investment market or the investment process without trying to buy. But you can build your own. You buy and build. You buy lots. We have a lot in Jacksonville that we bought 3 years ago that we plan to put. And our target audience is displaced veterans who are in housing crisis. So we want to keep. We're not building for high-end tenants or those in the who are just divided. There are people who are struggling financially than more who are affluent. So if you want to do well, then you better serve catering to that market. And as you do well, you give back, back to that community, so that they too can have a better life and a better quality of life.
All right, excellent. So Denise says,
another risk is
thanks,
owner
Ray.
Risk.
Go ahead.
And put it very simply,
Well, go ahead, Ray.
Yeah, another risk is owner risk. And that's probably the most important one, in my opinion. Perhaps you just aren't an investor. You're way out of your depth. You shouldn't be doing this. Just buy a house, live in it, buy a little car, go to work, come home, collect your pension, life goes on. It's just not your thing. You just aren't equipped to do this properly. You're always going to find yourself with bad. All have a bad story. And for some reason, we hear a lot of those bad stories motivated because the people who are investing in business successfully are so busy being successful that they have no real time to share the bad stories. It's usually the 2 or 3 bad stories who get all the press. I know several very successful real estate investors who've done it for 30, 40, 50 years, right? And they've shifted their process as the market changes. Because as a real estate investor, you have to be able to pivot and navigate the evolving market. The markets are going to be constantly evolving, right? So you have to step back and do some introspection and some self-analysis to decide, are you capable of being a real estate investor? Are you capable of being a landlord? Are you capable of being a property manager? Are you capable of being a maintenance worker? Because all those things you have to do to be successful at investing. Because before you can hire tradespeople, many times you will have to be the one going there and fixing that yourself, or changing that faucet, or painting that unit over, instead of paying somebody hundreds of thousands of dollars to do it for you, because that's tapping in to your cash flow, right? So you really have to sit back and ask yourself, is this right for me? It's not way to make money. If you are dealing with, average housing in most big cities across North America, you're dealing with very, very basic tenants. You got to have very good interpersonal skills to deal with them. Sometimes they're dealing with their own stresses, and sometimes it's transferred to you in the interaction, the conversation. You have to understand how to deal with those individuals, because it can escalate very, very quickly. I saw a situation in New York a few months ago where a landlord, I think, killed his tenants in his home because of some kind of rent issue, right? No, that's an extreme situation, but you have to really ask yourself, am I the person to do this? Yes, your best friend has got 8 rental properties, or yes, your grandfather was a great real estate investor, your father owns 20 units, but can you do it, right? Is it part of your physiology to become a real estate investor? I think that's one of the first things that most investors should consider, and one is that very few actually consider. So when you take your money out of your property, you leverage your property, and then put into this rental property, but you are not investor, landlord, property manager material. And it's even worse if somebody tells you to buy a property somewhere in Wisconsin or some city you're unfamiliar with. Like, that's common today to have your portfolio all across North America, right? You've got a property in Sudbury, and then a property in Bowmanville, and you've got a property out in somewhere in Idaho, but you live in Brampton, and you can't get to these properties, you know what I mean? And you don't know what you're doing out of your debt. And very, very quickly, you can lose $500,000, a few $1 million by doing this. So that is, to me, while I've got lower down on my list, I want to deal with the market risk for it, because we're in this interest rate environment. Owner risk is probably the most important part of the real estate investor journey.
Right. So Ray got some more. So Denise Durant says, thanks, Ray. Observation in Georgia. And that was about the rent negotiate to rent to buy. And also she has another question. Denise has this question: as a homeowner, does my property value increase with having renters instead of a person who has their home?
I don't quite understand the question. I'm thinking she's asking me whether your property will increase in value more if you live in it as opposed to renting it or having tenants. There's no simple answer to that question. If the properties are in the same location, same postal code, same neighborhood, same half a kilometer radius, they should both increase at the same time. They are both maintained in a similar fashion. So the occupancy shouldn't make a difference, whether it's occupied by the owner or by a tenant. Now, in different geographic areas, obviously, market conditions come into play, and they can increase differently. I mean, one can increase at 8% per annum, one at 4%, one can remain flat, because you don't have geographic issues to deal with. But the short answer to that question is no, if they're in the same location. The long answer can become very, very complex, and I'll probably take us, but I'll be to answer that question for you. So I hope that my question.
Okay, so Denise says, Ray said it's a
So
complex
we've gone
question.
through 4 of the risks so far. We've got 2 other risks.
Okay.
Yes, we've gone through 4 of our investors' risk so far. The last 2 are financial risk and asset risk. Asset risk is the property you're purchasing. is it a money pit? Are you buying a property that is 100 years old, or the anticipation that you're going to renovate it, and then you will, change it from 5 units into 12 units, increase your cash flow, increase your tenant base in that particular property and stuff like that. Or you buy a property without actually doing the necessary inspections and appraisals, and you find out that it's not what you bought. You buy a property sight unseen as an out-of-town community. You're in the Greater Toronto area. You buy a property out in Newfoundland. You've never gone to Newfoundland. You don't know what the neighborhood is like. You know what the property looks like, but it sounds like a great deal because it's $125,000. It's three units, and you went up for $900 a unit. And then you find out that the property needs a new roof. It's got structural issues in the foundation, and you find yourself in a property that you can't sell, and it's going to cost you tens of thousands of dollars to remedy those challenges. So understanding the asset is very important. How do you mitigate that? Find a bunch of trusted professionals. The appraisal is usually done on behalf of the lender. You only have a lot of control in that process, but your realtor and your home inspector should be working for you. So your realtor should be able to analyze any property you're planning to purchase. They can be able to tell you what the current market rents are, what the potential market rents are. If you're buying a home that needs work, if you invest $100,000 in renovations, will your new rental revenue offset that $100,000 liability plus your mortgage payments? If the property has issues with structure, or doesn't have issues with structure, with your home inspector have the ability to pick up things that can become a real problem in the future. Fresh paint and new carpet hides a lot of stuff when it comes to buying investment properties. Here's something that I worked with a team several years ago. We did that a lot. We just paint the whole place over, change the light fixtures. They might come and think, oh, this place is beautiful. But sometimes, there were underlying issues. There may be, a plumbing issue with one of the things, but that's all this stuff. So you want to really understand the asset. I have bought property sight unseen, but I did the other things in the background with the inspection. I had a realtor who was a very close friend of mine, but I trusted very well to do the walkthrough for me. And while they did the walkthrough, today it's easy. You just take with your cell phone and do a video. And I can tell you, I turn the faucet on, watch the toilet. Let me see what the garage looks like, and that's all the stuff. Let me walk around the basement. Let me see what the foundation looks like. So it's easy if you're to buy sight unseen. But if you're a novice or a rookie investor, I would shy away from buying sight unseen. Today in Canada, many folks are buying out in the Calgary area, mostly new condos, and that's probably okay, because it's new construction. There's a warranty in the property from the builder. If it's being transferred from one buyer to the next on an assignment, you want to make sure that warranty is actually transferable, because it's a brand new home. The warranty might not be transferable. So if there's any lawyers in the audience here, they can probably verify that information, whether the warranty on the new construction is transferable from one investor to the next. And then the next risk is financial risk. Real estate is one of the world's most expensive products. You need money to invest. These ads around the place, invest no money, become a landlord without any money, use other money to invest. And all sounds very good and very, very tempting, but it's bullshit. You can't invest without any money. You have to have money. You need money for your down payment. Sometimes if you own property already, you would have to come up with usually a 20% down payment to buy your first investment. If it's a multifamily property with 6 units or more, there are many programs that allow you to get less down payment. But you have to have usually experience. There's a whole questionnaire that the lender will provide you with when it comes to asking questions on what your capacity is to be a real estate investor and a landlord. But you have to have money. You can buy a property and something goes wrong, the appliances stop working. And that's not a huge expense. If you have no money, you don't have to go and borrow money from somebody else, or you bought a home with no appliances inside, and all you had was your closing costs and your down payment. Sometimes 4 or 5 appliances, and that can cost you between $2,000 to $4,000. So even if that sounds to be a small, for a novice rookie investor, that payment and that $4,000 or $5,000 debt can make or break you. So if you put in that expense on a credit card or on a line of credit, you're now paying interest only, somewhere between 12 and 27%, depends on what kind of credit facility you use to pay that debt off. So, I would suggest that anybody, and that's one thing that clients all the time, and they come to me, they want to put this much money down on a property. We try to buy the property with the least money down and keep as much money in your pocket in the eventuality you have to do stuff. If you're buying property in an area that's being gentrified, you manage to find yourself a great deal on a nice home in Washington, D.C. or in Windsor or downtown Brampton or downtown Decatur or Georgia, any city is going to gentrification. You, in order to now bring your value up, right, and increase your rent, you have to have money to change that property. And if you're buying, depends on your market, that can mean anything from $20,000 to hundreds of thousands of dollars, depends on the size of the property and the property values. So you will find a great property in a great location that has a lot of potential, but you actually change the property to increase the value, because the process is buy, renovate, refinance, repeat. The BRRRR program, the BRRRR process. So intention is you buy it, you renovate it, you refinance it. So if you're not going to renovate it, you can't repeat the process. You're stuck with this piece of property, has tons of potential, but you can't take your game to the next level. So I always tell people, there aren't no bad real estate investment deals. It's the wrong buyer and the wrong property. You bought the people who connect. If you are the right person for the right deal, you'll make it work because you have the resources to make it work. You got a team behind you, you have the money. But if you have the team behind you, you don't have the money, then you're the wrong person for the right deal for somebody else.
Makes sense, Ray. Makes sense. Also, there's a comment here, I think, from something you shared a little while ago. Eunice says, I saw this happening in the early 80s when interest rates were at 18% and more, where people were overextended themselves and lost all their properties, including their principal homes.
Yeah, and that comment is so very accurate. That goes back to historical data. I came to Canada in the 80s. I came to Canada. So post financial crisis and inflation, you need to step back for a while and pull up some old Toronto Star newspaper and the Financial Post newspapers and go back and see what was happening in Toronto in the 80s, right? There were people dropping the key for their homes at major lenders because they couldn't afford to pay. They walked away. There was zero vacancy rate for rent in Toronto in 1980 when I came to Toronto. You couldn't find a place to rent. So people were subleasing apartments. If I had an apartment anywhere in Toronto and I moved out of it, after I'm moving, you want to win my apartment, and I would sublease my apartment to you. I didn't give it back to the landlord because it wasn't a race thing. It was just everybody was dealing with this situation all across Toronto. So Ms. Grimm is actually very, very correct on that statement. And it's important for us to have all of a historical perspective when we make these broad sweeping statements today. The world's about to end. The folks who had homes in the 1980s, some lost their homes and some bought homes again. So whatever we're dealing with today, this too shall pass. I always tell people we are victorious against all of our worst experiences. The key is to have a strategy to navigate it. And if you don't know how to do it yourself, how to understand the risk you're dealing with, how to mitigate the risk you're dealing with, and find yourself professionals who can help you understand the process. Make rash decisions. Everything when it comes to real estate is cyclical. It will end soon. How resilient are you as an investor to ride in the storm out? If it was easy, everybody would do it. We'd all be wealthy real estate investors. Unfortunately, it is not easy. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of analysis, and you have to have some money to do it. You can't just go in with no money. You're going to have all these investment real estate properties all across the world and become a mega millionaire. It sounds easy. There's a lot of YouTube gurus who talk about this using this money and stuff. If it sounds too easy, it to be true probably is not true.
All right, Ray. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to call it for today. And as always, Ray is available to speak with. His phone numbers are there on the screen. And also, 905 in Canada, 905-813-4354. US 904-586-5636. Even there's a toll-free number, 866-883-0885. Website, the McMillan Group Inc. inc.com. And then email address, raycmcmillan@gmail.com. Ray, do you have any final comments and thoughts before we let you get to the rest of your day?
Thanks again for this is our first conversation of 2024. I hope those who are listening are possibly thinking of investing. If they would like an unbiased approach, they're free to call me. You don't necessarily have to deal with us, but we are here to give you the perspective. I myself have had a lot of challenges with investment properties over the years. To avoid you making the same mistakes and point you in quote unquote the right area. It spans into many parts of the Caribbean, and it goes back to the 90s. So one of the fastest ways to create wealth is investing in the right real estate. And the right real estate is different for everybody. For some people, it's land. For some people, it's condominiums. For people, it's large apartment buildings. For some people, it's vacation homes. It all depends on what your interest is and what you can make it work. So not because Johnny and Debbie are buying beachfront condos, you're more interested in doing Section 8 housing, because that's what you understand based on your story. You don't want to get into beachfront condos because you're going to mess up royally, right? So, first of all, do the self-analysis, real estate owner, and then really plan your team. When I say team, I don't only mean lawyer, realtor, home inspector, and appraiser. I'm talking renovation crew. Learn some trades. Learn how to change a faucet, change a light fixture, change a door lock. Notice the paint roller properly. Drop some hardwood floors down or some laminate in the ground. Learn to do stuff. Don't be afraid to get your hands dirty. If you're lifting carpet up, you get your kids in front of a person. Or if your kids are older, get them involved anyway. I mean, the kids should be involved in part of the legacy building process at any stage of their lives, as far as I'm concerned. The families are wealth. That's where we charge to their family. Because at the end of the day, when we check out, they're going to pick up the pieces, pick up where we left off. Take yourself too seriously. There's some side stories out there. There's a lot of folks who invest in real estate successfully without any challenges and doing it really, really well. I've met folks who can't speak English properly from parts of Europe who have bought properties all across the city People can't even sign their name. They're basically functionally illiterate. They own tons of the right type of real estate based on what they know. So, I mean, go out there and start looking around, you know what I mean? Do some research in the city. Understanding market risk and location risk is very important. Today, the information is easy to access. You can go to any municipal website and get information on demographics, median incomes, education levels, owner to renter ratios, all sorts of information. And that will tell you whether or not the city is, or the location is conducive to you building a decent size rental portfolio. And if you need a second opinion, as I said, my email is on the screen, raycmcmillan@gmail.com. Just send me a quick email. I'm going to share 15 minutes to 30 minutes having a conversation with you. We can do it by Zoom or whatever platform, and I'll share my insights. And Dr. Bob, I don't know what's going on at my StreamYard, man, but for the last few meetings, the conversation, we've been having a lot of challenges with my StreamYard, you know.
We'll get it straightened out.
I had to basically have this little icon up on this. People to see it.
No, well, no worries.
It's really frustrating me, man.
Yeah, no worries. You and I are going to do. No problem. You and I are going to do some testing offline. So the next time you come on, it'll be perfect. So as always, Ray, I want to say thank you for taking your time and sharing with the family here. Opal Inspire says, thank you, Ray. Fitnet's IQ Cam says, always providing wonderful insight. So Ray, thanks again. As always, you take care of you and the family, and we will be in touch. Make sure you give yourself grace and don't just manage your time, manage your energy. Also, Eunice says, excellent info. I hope people are taking advantage of all this info that's available now. People of my generation, of her generation, did not. And Denise Durant says, thanks, Ray. Also, more messages here. Thank you for breaking that down, Ray. I had a friend try to tell me just to buy a house versus renting. I told her I wanted to make sure I have the right amount of in my savings. Great advice as always, Ray. So lots of great information, and we're going to try our best to get the technical right the next time. So as always, Ray, to you and the family, make sure you give yourselves grace and don't just manage your time, manage your energy. Okay, that is it. And we pushed through and got it done, family. Again, I will work with Ray in regards to the technical issues with the platform. So appreciate your patience, whether you watch or listen to this live or on replay. So let's do some things before we close it down today. So at the bottom, you'll see all the places where you can watch the Morning Vibe replays. You can watch them on the Dr. Vibe Show, YouTube and Facebook. Also, the Afro Caribbean Business Network, Facebook and YouTube. And Ryan Oneil Knight, YouTube and LinkedIn. So let's go through some of the roll call. Please subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button so you get notified. I'm going to be posting some upcoming conversations, so you'll get notified ahead of time. Also, follow the Dr. Vibe Show on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. Please, to advertise your business, if you'd like, your business product or service, email me dr.vibe@the.drvibeshow.com. Join the Morning Vibe Discord group. Email me dr.vibe@the.drvibeshow.com. And as I said, coming up on this Monday's show, Faces by Pureness, makeup artist extraordinaire will be with us. Please, not only been doing it for years, that's a story, but she also hopefully will share some of her weight loss journey with us. So that's it. And I guess that's a wrap. Hope wherever you are in North America or wherever you're watching this, that you are fine and safe. And as always, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you taking time out of your positive, productive schedule to share with us and share it out. Share it with other people. So as always, this is how we're going to finish off. Live your life as a dream. I almost forgot about it. I've been saying it so many thousand times. I had that hiccup. You ever had that where you've been saying something so many times, and when you want to say it one time, it goes blank? I had that moment. So live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Blog assumptions, then aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Remember to give yourselves grace. Don't just manage your time and manage your energy. I have one last comment here. Who's just chiming in at the end? Dr. Tachi, great show. All right. If Dr. Tachi says it was a great show, it was a great show. She is the endorser. God bless. Peace well. Keep the faith. Oh, another message. I try to keep all them in. Eunice says, have a great day, everyone. Thank you. Right back to you, Eunice. And hope all the people, Eunice, I hope you're following the YouTube channel. I'd be disappointed if you're not. I'd be disappointed if you're not. God bless. Peace well. Keep the faith and walk good.